Hey, happy Friday. Welcome back to my channel, Georgia Girl, Air Woman Wellness and more. And I'm your host, Georgia Girl. And I'll be right back. I'm trying to set up something. I'll be talking about this article I had read. It's about this man. It's a domestic violence case. It is a domestic violence case. So I hope everybody have had a good Friday. It's been storming here. It's still a little dark out there, but I think the rain is gone. Today, I want to share some things about domestic violence. Um, I had read this article concerning this man who was abusive to his girlfriend or wife. I got to make sure which one it was, but he took the anger out on the baby. I don't know if y'all have seen this article or heard about it. I first seen it on Law and Crime. I don't play other people's content, so I just read off what I had found out. So if you're coming in the chat, please be respectful in the chat. If you want to come on the panel, just let me know. If anybody is a victim of domestic violence that want to share their story, you're welcome to come up here and share, and you won't be judged. Over here on my channel, I try to share things about reality, things that we deal with daily, and there are millions of people are dealing with domestic violence, and our children, and the children does get caught up in the crossfire. It just so happened this 3-month-old baby was drowned by his father trying to get back at the mom. But I just want to share about the domestic violence, how it affects millions of people annually, women, men, children. Whether it's the woman or the man, they both get abused. The children end up getting affected mentally about the abuse. So today I just want to share about stop the violence, stop the domestic violence. And I also want to say some people do not deserve children. Why? You're probably wondering, why would I say that, or why should I say that? The reason I say that, because there are people out there struggling to have babies. And boys, now you are able to have children. Now best, they're going through different ways of having children, how they used to be a long time ago. But there are still some people still struggling to have children, their own children. And the people that got children, they care not to care for their kids. They rather abuse them. So I think this man was a monster. And I'm going to tell you why. When I get to reading the article, I have enclosed the article in my description. So I'm going to read some about what happened. And yes, he said he was guilty because he knew he was guilty. He couldn't go in front of that judge and tell that judge he did not do that. So he did plead it guilty. And I think he deserved more than 92 years. But I'm going to get into that in a minute. But if you're coming in my chat, please be respectful in my chat. I just want to put some disclaimers out. Anything that I talk about on my channel today or anytime is for educational, entertainment purposes only, fair use, copyright 76. But anyway, I try to share things that I think could help someone else. That's why I have my panel, or I use my channel for people to come up and share. Sometimes, it's good to talk about certain things, but I know there are certain things some people just don't like to talk about. And I know domestic violence is steady rising in the United States today. And like I said, it happens to men and women both, and children. Our children are the ones that get hurt the most because they're witnessing their moms and dads and family members getting abused, and then they get affected in the long run mentally. They can't focus at school because they have to go home and hear a lot of their parents getting into it, or their family members having something going on. So I'm just going to read a little bit about domestic violence. Then I'm going to get into this article about what my topic is about today. This everyone deserves relationship free from domestic violence. When you're ready, we're here to listen. We're confidential support. There are people out there can help you if you're going through a domestic violence. There are 24-hour contact numbers you can contact. Like I said, a lot of people don't like to share because they be hit the wrong thing. I didn't want to hit that. But there are 1-800 numbers that you can talk to someone. They be on 24/7. And just always remember that you are not alone. There's millions of people that's also out here dealing with domestic violence, whether you're a man, woman, or child. I just want to put that out there. You can dial 911 or 988. That should take you to a support line where you're able to talk to someone, and you don't have to leave your name. You can talk to someone anonymously if you don't want to tell who you are, but you can talk to someone anonymously. Just if you're in that type of relationship and you need to talk to someone, just to know there are contacts and numbers that you can confide in. Hey, how's everybody doing today? I can see y'all on my computer. I guess I probably need to refresh the comments. I didn't even know if anybody was in the chat or not. I'm looking at my phone. Happy Friday. How's everybody doing? Hey, Miss Key. Hey, Frank. Happy Friday. Y'all see what I'm talking about today, right? I'm talking, hey, Butt Files. I'm sharing some things about domestic violence. I don't know if y'all know I'm always finding some things to share about awareness in the day. Well, I saw it the other day, and on Friday, I try to talk about things like trending things, or I talk about movies, but it's always be something with dealing with awareness. And today I want to share about domestic violence, but it's just the case that this little baby, and it's awful, y'all. I don't know if y'all seen it, but I first seen it on Law and Crime. It happened like the first week of July. When I be reading different topics and I run across different articles, and I found that article about what happened to this 3-month-old baby. And I had said a lot of people don't deserve children. Do y'all agree or not? Do y'all think that when they abuse children, the way how some people abuse their children, they don't deserve children? There are people out here struggling trying to have kids. Things are different now for people to have children, because they got the different things you can use to try to conceive now. But back in the day, people didn't have that, what they got going on now for people to have children, and there are still some people today still don't have their own children. And for a child to have to suffer what they had suffered. A woman shot her husband 2 days ago. That's why I say it's just so much going on. Yeah. I know men do get abused, Frank. They do get a few abused. But this crazy fool, what I'm finna tell y'all about, he drowned his baby because he was trying to get back in at the mom. And I'm gonna get into that article in 1 minute. Did y'all hear about that? This it was in Indiana. But I saw it on Law and Crime. No child should be used for a pun or used for a scapegoat for someone who's dealing with stuff. You help conceive that child. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if they was having marital problems or they was having an abusive relationship before the child was conceived. How you doing, Line? Do y'all think, the question is today, do you think everybody deserves children? Especially when they abusive relationship. When you already know you got an abusive relationship, why bring innocent children in it? These children do not ask to be in this world. They don't ask to be in this world. They really don't. So for this man to do that to that 3-month-old child, he's a monster. And he deserved every year they gave him. And I'm going to get into it in 1 minute. I saw it on Law and Crime, but I went and did my own research. And this is a domestic violence case. He couldn't get to the mama, so he had to go through the child. And that's wrong. That is wrong. That's why a lot of children now get affected mentally about what their parents going through, because they damaging those kids. They really are. I'm not saying I got the perfect marriage, but I'm not in a violent marriage. You know what I'm saying? I'm not in a marriage where my husband had to make my eyes black and blue, and I never had to experience him trying to hurt our children. No, I gotta refresh my computer, y'all. Let me refresh if I can see the comments, cause I'm reading off for my phone. I'm gonna read the article off my phone. And the boy, he went for 29, y'all. The boy what did it? Young boy. So was he ready for children or what? Okay, I'm back. But anyway, what I was saying was the guy what did it, he was 29 years old. The dad, he was 29. And I'm like, why bring children in this type of behavior? You shouldn't take that out on them. Some comments, show comments on. Okay. Now I got a phone call. I'm back, y'all. I had a phone call too. We was able to finish the short of the day. We did 3 shorts a day. Shout out to Frank G. Life. Shout out to Miss Key Kitchen and More. Shout out to Sassy and myself. We did 3 videos all week, 3 times a day. If you want to go check out some content, just check out the content on our channels. We share different variety of videos, from food hauls to walks to cook to inspiration. I think it was a great challenge, and shout out to you guys for doing an excellent job. Next week we'll be on the dessert of the day. It'll be your dessert of your choice. So if you want to be in the challenge, you can just present your dessert of the day. We'll do that for 5 days. And I think we got the boiled egg challenge left and walk of the day. I think that's what left. It depends on the weather. Just if you walk, you probably have to walk in the afternoon. But I want to welcome everybody in the chat today. We're talking about okay, yeah, I had turned it. My brother had called. He ain't want nothing for real. My husband probably gonna call in a few minutes because I was trying to call him before I go live. So if y'all see me go out, y'all know why I had a phone call. But yeah, like I was saying, y'all, everybody's not meant to be parents. Everybody's not meant to be parents. It is a shame that our children have to suffer because of what the parents go through. And it's sad. It's just sad to me. And after I seen the article, I'm like, wow, this is disgusting. I mean, it was just awful. So I'm gonna get into it now. I found the article. I first seen the video at on Law and Crime. That's a law and crime show. And so I went to the article, and if you go in and type in about a 3-month-old dies after a father drowning him in a bucket of laundry detergent, y'all. I mean, drown a baby in some detergent. Ain't that sad? Okay, they say 3-month-old baby in Indiana died. I still can't see y'all comments on my computer. I don't know what's going on. I'm trying to see what's going on. I refreshed it, but oh no, this computer, it just acts the way it want to act for some reason. Let me see. So I'm going to try to read it right quick, and then if I can be able to see if anybody in the chat come in. If anybody, like I said, if anybody is going through anything, like any type of domestic violence or anything, if you want to come up and share, my panel is open today. If anybody want to come on the panel and just talk about things like this, it's just sad that people have to go to this link. Like they said, people do the most, and he did. So I'm gonna get into this story. Okay, a 3-month-old dies after father drowned him in bucket of laundry detergent, report says. Okay, this report here came out on July the 4th. So this has been a couple of weeks. A 3-month-old baby in Indiana died after his father drowned him in a bucket of laundry detergent, according to authorities. On Tuesday, judge ordered 29-year-old Ellert Monis to serve 92 years. He got 92 years, y'all, in prison for death of his 3-month-old son, Jacob, in 2024. So this happened in 2024. So I guess they just bringing it to trial. So he got 92 years. Wow. According to the court documents, Ellert's wife said he got upset with her on August the 5th, 2024, and the two hadn't spoke to each other since that evening. What? The wife allegedly told officers she was sitting at home in a chair in her bedroom watching a church service with baby Jacob. The baby was named Jacob, child. When Eleazar entered the room, took the baby Jacob, and she heard the front door close. Then Ella then returned home approximately 30 minutes later, came into the bathroom and hit her multiple times with an item described as a tire iron or a wrench. What? The wife told officers that Ella then left their home and she did not know where baby Jacob was since Ella allegedly left the home with him before the attack. Oh my God. She then drove herself to the hospital where she was treated for injuries. Hold on, y'all. I know what I can do now. Hold on. Ain't that something, y'all? He done took this baby out the house. This a straight shame, y'all. Okay. That's a straight shame. But anyway, yeah, they gonna be happy with him in prison. Cause you know they don't play about when folk do stuff to kids, they say. They don't play about that. Okay. The wife told the officer that he left their home. He left the home, right? Took the baby somewhere, and she did not know where baby Jacob was. Allegedly left the home with him before the attack. She drove herself to the hospital where she was treated for injuries, including a skull fracture. He hit her with a tie wrench. That's what they're saying in the article. He hit her with a tie wrench. This happened in 2024, but they brought it to I guess it went to trial in July, the beginning of July. So she had a skull fracture. He hit her with a, like those tire wrenches, like the thing, I guess you change the tire with. Wow. Okay, they said that officers then responded to the hospital, but they discovered baby Jacob was not with her at the hospital. She went to the hospital and she still didn't know where her baby was, y'all. When the police went back to the apartment, they couldn't find the baby. A silver alert for Jacob was issued after he went missing on August the 10th, 2024. I know y'all be getting those alerts on y'all phone too about when people got children and stuff like this. So they did put out a alert on this baby in 24, right? So they put out a missing, alert, missing baby abducted August the 10th, 2024. Levette police said it was believed that the child was in extreme danger and needed medical attention. However, the next day, the alert was canceled when 3-month-old was found. Oh my God. However, the next day, the alert was canceled when the 3-month-old was found dead in a devastating development. After going back to do a second search of the apartment, police said baby Jacob's body was found very well hidden where a small normal person wouldn't think to look. What? The baby, they thought the baby wasn't in the house, y'all. Guess, let me tell y'all what the baby was. After I see what my husband want, like, I told you he was gonna call. I was trying to get all my calls out the way before the live started. Hold on, y'all. Yeah, I'm live. I'm live. I had tried to call you. See, I can't even see y'all comment. McKee just texted me and told me, thank you, Miss Key. I gotta start all back over. Okay, you remember? I don't know if y'all heard me on the last when I said they found the baby in a bucket, right? They found the baby in a bucket by the trash can. They, like they said, they would have never thought the baby. They thought the baby was at the house, so they had put it on alert for the baby. But it found out. They went back and searched. The baby was in like a bucket with a top on it, and he had it sitting over there with the trash. So, but they dropped some of his charges because they had got him for battery, confinement, domestic violence. They had got him for all of that, but they dropped that. But they gave him 92 years in prison. He's 29 years old. He's a immigrant. Wow. And he was the baby dad, y'all. He was the baby dad. Him and the mom, him and his wife, they was having issues, domestic violence, and he took the baby, trying to get the lady attention. Took all that out on that innocent 3-month-old baby. And y'all know a 3-month-old baby is still developing. A 3-month-old baby, they ain't no bigger than like this. They still little. That child probably at 3 months old, they're not really talking, they're babbling. Just probably starting to try to sit up, Just sad. So the man, he's 29 years old. They say he did not show any kind of emotion while the judge was talking to him in the court. So the incident, the murder happened August the 20. The murder happened in August of 2024. So he just went to court July the 1st. They said he wasn't showing any type of emotion until the judge came out with his sentence. When the judge came out with his sentence and told him he got 92 years, he started trying to wipe tears off his face. Really? So they said July the 1st was the conclusion of a nearly 11 months legal proceeding that started the afternoon of August 10th, 2024, as police investigate a brutal assault on his wife and a statewide search for the couple's 3-month-old son. They was looking, they out looking for the baby, y'all. Gave out those alerts, like the alerts when they see a child being abducted. The baby was in the house all alone in a bucket of dish detergent. Well, detergent, they say. They say it doesn't really get worse than this. That's what the deputy or the prosecutor was saying, told the judge before sentencing. A father put his 3-month-old son face down in a bucket of laundry detergent, sealed the lid, left his son to die, and then went to the next room and viciously attacked the baby mother. Oh my God. Oh my God. I need to share you, let y'all see this picture. You look like a fool sitting up there in that courtroom. Look like a straight fool. He done tucked this baby in the kitchen, put him in face down in the bucket of dish detergent, and went back in the next room and beat the mom with a tie wrench. The little baby drowned. They said Jacob drowned in the bucket, swallowing 100 milligrams of detergent while he died. Oh my God. So they said he made a statement to his wife, said after the arrest, he showed lack of remorse. The defendant wanted to teach his wife a lesson. You can't disrespect the man, the defendant said repeatedly. He didn't care what the consequences were. He could not live without teaching his wife a lesson, and he didn't care if he spent the rest of what? Oh my God. He was trying to get back at the woman, talking about she was disrespecting him, and so he gonna take his child life. He ain't nothing but a monster, y'all. and said he didn't care if he spent the rest of his life in prison, which is exactly where he belongs. What? So they said he's destined to spend the rest of his life in prison. The judge sentenced Myers to 62 years for murder and 30 years for attempted murder. The sentences run consecutively. He ain't getting out. I guess they gave him 62 years for the little boy, for the baby, and gave him 30 years for the attempt on his wife. And they said he would have to serve 75% of 92-year sentence, which equals 69 years. He's 29 years old. And he got to at least, because this, I guess it's federal, he got to at least serve 69 years. He's already served more than a year in pretrial detention, leaving roughly 6 or 7 years before he can be released. Honey, you ain't getting out. Because by the time you be in there and old people find out what you did to that baby, they going to beat you too. He would be 97 years old by the time he would complete his sentence. Talking about he'll be 97 years old. So he does not speak English, but a French interpreter read Myers' statement to the court. What? He was an immigrant, y'all. Lord have mercy. To the court before saying, this is not what I wish for my future. This is what he read for an interpreter to read. He said, this is not what I had wished for my future, said in a written statement referring to his lengthy sentence. But this is what it is presented in my life today. I would like to present my apologies to all of you in the community reading and hearing about this situation. Well, you ain't apologizing to your wife? You're not sorry you took your baby's life? I left the country of Haiti to look for a better life elsewhere so I could be able to help myself and my family. But things were not easy for me, Myers said. I had to choose to leave those other countries and come to the United States. You should have stayed where you were if you were going to do all this. Good gracious. I had to choose to leave those other countries and come to the United States because I thought things were going to be easier for me here. I'm reading this article about the man who drowned his 3-month-old baby in a bucket of dish detergent, laundry detergent. And he also attacked his wife. He was sentenced 92 years. They say he'll probably get out when he get 97. He's 27 now, or 29. I think he's 29. He did that to the baby to get back at the mama. Talking about his wife for being disrespectful, and he had to teach her a lesson. And see, that wrong. People take issues out on the children instead of dealing with the problem. These children don't ask to be here. Okay, he said, this is a statement he wrote to the court. He don't speak English. He had to have an interpreter. I would never have came here if I would have gone back to my country. You shouldn't have came here. Look what you did. Coming to the United States led to trouble and misfortune, he said. I'm living with remorse, with pain, stress. Really? I'm living with remorse, with pain, stress that would never go away as long as I live, said in his statement. I never thought I could have been a prisoner for one day. Fool, look what you did. This is what he gonna say now. My apology for what happened. The apology didn't seem to carry much weight with the judge or those in the courtroom gallery, including the son, mother. Mary took the 3 years off, maximum 65-year sentence for murder. He did take out 3 years, explaining the legacy was because he pleaded guilty, sparing the victim, the police officers, and the community from having to see the photos of baby Jacob's death. Lord have mercy. I think it's important to start out the day remembering little Jacob, a 3-month-old defenseless little baby whose mother described him as a bundle of joy. Wow, Myers said. His entire life was taken away by the man who was his biological father. This just straight sad. Man killed his own baby, y'all. Killed his own baby. If you come in the chat, I do welcome you. I'm sharing about this man was tackling his wife, and he ended up drowning his baby, 3-month-old baby, in a bucket of detergent. He was abusive to his wife, and he used his baby to get back at his mom. Now he's serving a 92-year sentence. He'll probably never get out. They say he'll be 97 years old. And they said the reason the judge didn't give him the full life because he pleaded guilty. So the judge then knocked off 3 years, but say he'll be 97 when he get out. Man, by the time those prison get hold of you in that jail, you're going to be through anyway. So right here, they said the baby was full of joy. He was a 3-month-old baby. Lord have mercy. It's just, he on my thumbnail, y'all. I just didn't want to keep showing it, but it's sad. So right here, they said, this what the defense lawyer is saying. You killed your own child. No, the judge said, you killed your own child, Mary said, his voice raising with firmness and anger. I can't think of a worse crime. This is one of the most, he said, this is one of the most grossest murders he ever had to see. The thought of putting a 3-month-old upside down, Lord have mercy. The thought of putting a 3-month-old upside down, had the baby in the bucket like this, y'all, had his head turned down into a bucket of laundry detergent is unimaginable. Myers said as one Jacob family members in the courtroom let out a groan of pain and agreement. Oh my God. That's too sad. They said he does not intend to appeal. What are you going to appeal for? Appeal his sentence, but he said he does not intend to appeal his sentence, but if he does, he have 30 days to notify the court. What are you going to appeal for? He don't need the appeal. So what y'all think about that? What do y'all, let me see y'all comments. If anybody made any comments. What do y'all think about that? I think the judge shouldn't have had no kind of leniency on him. I don't think he needed to be getting out at 97 and nowhere. Hey, pre-retirement, how you doing? I was just sharing about the man that killed his 3-month-old baby, put his baby in some laundry detergent. He was abusing his wife, so he took his 3-month-old baby. They thinking the baby was kidnapped. This man and put the baby inside of a bucket, y'all. They said they would have never thought this man would have put his own child. That's why I say a lot of people do not deserve to have kids. There are people out here still struggling trying to get kids. See, the judge gave him leniency. He knocked 3 years off his sentence. He should have gave him the whole death penalty. He don't deserve, I doubt he get out at 97. He don't deserve to see daylight no more. Happy Friday, everybody. Good to see everybody. I'm talking about domestic violence awareness. And it's sad that this 3-month-old little baby had to be killed because of domestic violence. Say he killed the wife. He attacked the wife and abused the wife because she was being disrespectful to him. And he wanted to teach her a lesson. He ain't had to do that to his own child. Okay, I'm going up and check your comment because I couldn't see him over here. Okay. You were talking about, so I don't know you talking about. Oh, talk about what I had at oh, Mickey, look. Thank God for my sister, Mickey. She all text me. But yeah, I had forgot to unmute it. Yeah, I was just talking about it was on mute because my husband had called and I had forgot to unmute it. So y'all just laughing at me. uh so what y'all think about that? What do y'all I asked before you got on the phone, was he abusing before the child came? Yeah. He was already abusing his wife, right? He was already. It don't really say that he was being abusive before the child came, but it don't really say. But what do you think? He said that he was trying to teach her a lesson. So I'm thinking that this is something that been going on, from what I'm thinking, that it was something going on in the relationship, in the marriage. Because he said he had to teach her a lesson. She was disrespecting him. They didn't really get into full details about what did she say or what did she do to him, but that still didn't give him a reason to take that baby life, your own child. Oh my God. So it probably was some stuff going on, Frank. It probably was some abusive stuff going on before they decided to have a child. That's why I said, think about who you having children with these days. There's some fools out here. There's some fools out here. You hear me? Because he was definitely a fool. Y'all know, I'm reading about the little baby got drowned. Little 3-month-old baby. Daddy drowned him in a bucket of detergent. That's just sad. And a 3-month-old baby, and he was a little boy. He's so cute. I was telling my granddaughter. It's just sad, y'all. It's sad. So she couldn't leave. That's what I'm saying, Frank. Why she didn't leave him? That's what we don't never seem to understand, why people stay with their abusers. Or some people they don't want to leave them because either they taking care of them. Some people stay with their abusers for security. Some stay with their abusers because of the children. And it's crazy. And I'm thinking, but they don't say that. It might, if I go look at some more articles, it might show that it was a real abusive marriage. I mean, I'm thinking he probably did it before, but she, how some people be in an abusive relationship, they be like, it probably won't happen again. We're gonna see if we can work it out. Then you mess around and got pregnant for the food. Got pregnant for the food. Look what he did. Yeah. And then he from Haitian. He is from Haitian. Who I bet Donald Trump probably, he already trying to keep the people from coming in the country. I bet Donald Trump that probably had a field day on this, because he already didn't try to block someone from coming in, right? When they coming in like this now, they shouldn't come in the country like this. If they already, but the thing about it, I don't know if they checking their background when they coming in the country like that or what. I don't really be following the politics like that, but he's trying to get a lot of them out of there. But it don't say that he was illegal now. It just say he from Haitian. He came over trying to live a better life, trying to have a better future. But look what you did, fool. So I call him a monster. They good around and call these other people monsters that don't even murder people. But this man, him murdered his own child. So do y'all think the judge should have just gave him life, even though they gave him 92 years, right? They say he'll be 97. He's not going to try to appeal. Why he going to appeal? Ain't no judge going to listen at this man. Like that judge said, he did one of the office. That was real awful what he did to that child. And then the sad part about it, the wife was thinking he had to tuck the baby like out of town somewhere or tuck the baby somewhere else. The baby was in the house all alone, y'all. in a bucket. No way. No way. Mm-mm. That's why they say sometimes you got to be careful who you lay with. You know, sometimes you have to notice the red flags. And then again, people would be in an abusive relationship. They feel like, it's like they have to go through a lot in order to say enough is enough. But the first time he abused me, and I'm saying it for me, the first time he would have hit me, I would have been gone. Because that was a red flag. Then he going to hit her with a tie wrench. She got skull fractured, everything. It's lucky she's still alive. It's lucky she's still alive. And I just want to bring that to attention today about children innocent kids don't have to be caught up in this. If you're in an abusive relationship, knowing that y'all will not get along, don't bring no child in that relationship. Especially if you're not ready for a child, if you're not prepared to take care of that child. Because what he did was awful. It was awful. 3-month-old baby, a 3-month-old baby just starting to, they're still not developed. They're still, some babies start to sit up at 3 months, but you still have to have support behind their back. They're not teethed, and some baby might start teething at 3 months. But what I'm saying is that baby whole life was taken from him. I thought maybe the baby wasn't his until I read the full article. The baby was his. And how he gonna sit up there in that courtroom and say what he say? He said all of that, and he still didn't show no remorse. The judge said he did not show no remorse. I'm trying to see, can I get this picture of him sitting up there looking like a fool, hair sticking all on his head. And he was a Haitian. I mean, I'm looking at this picture, I'm like, what? It was on Law and Crime Network 2 days ago. That's why I seen it 2 days ago. Because it's a Law and Crime Network YouTube channel. But I didn't share that channel. I just know I seen that on that channel. So anything I share is for commentary only, educational, entertainment purposes only. But it's sad, y'all. It's sad. So if anybody want to come up, if anybody's been through any type of abusive relationship and got out of it, I would love to hear from you. I would love to know, why do you think people don't leave their abusers, especially when they're in position where if you're able to leave, why you don't leave? Why you don't take responsibility or try to think about how it gonna affect your children in the long run? Because wow, but they didn't have no more children, so it was just only that little baby. And they were just describing how, when babies be like 3 months, they just starting to make little noises, or you might see them try to make a little smile and stuff like that. Just sad. I won't want nobody to go through that. If anybody in that type of relationship, especially when it comes down to that type of violence, you need to get out of it. Don't bring a child, shouldn't bring children in that kind of situation. It's not fair to those kids. You know what I'm saying? It's not fair to them. Not at all. I'm trying to see, can I find that picture? And he didn't he didn't know how to speak English. So they had an interpreter in there. But they say he still, the people in the court, they didn't buy that. They did not buy what he had said. They didn't think he had no remorse. He looking at her looking crazy. Don't be trying to look crazy now, dude. Don't be trying to look crazy now. So he was from Indiana. And this happened. He went to court on July the 1st. He went to court on July the 1st. But this, I guess they said it took like 11 months. You know, it take a while, you know, when they get ready to get the case going. So it took like 11 months to prepare for this case. But if you go to Law and Crime on YouTube, they was talking about it. That's where I saw it. And I said, wow, this just straight sad. And that's why I say innocent children, people should bring innocent children in the world, knowing that you already dealing with abuse. So my opinion, I think that it was already there. I think the abuse was already there. I think they was already had a bad rocky marriage. Because he said he wanted to teach her a lesson. So I got it like it was something that I'm all trying to download some. So that's why y'all probably see me up here 2 times. From what I gather, like if something had been going on, I don't know if it was her or him, but it was some definitely going on in that marriage for this fool to want to snap the way he did and then hurt an innocent child. Even if they were saying people in the courtroom was crying and groaning and stuff like that, it was very devastating. And they saying it was just had the baby turned head down, had his head turned in the bucket, y'all. You know, like I said, a little 3-month-old probably ain't no bigger than like this. I got a picture, but the baby ain't no bigger than about this. And he had to put him in one of those buckets, put the baby in one of those buckets with the lid on it. And they said they would have never thought that baby was in there. They putting out all those alerts, thinking the man had took the baby out of town or then dropped them off somewhere. I wonder where she was. Okay, he took the baby to the kitchen. Was the baby crying or what? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Was the baby crying before? And what would? So he had to hit her before he took that baby in there. Because I'm sure if she had to know he took that baby in that kitchen, she would have been trying to fight back. That's what I'm assuming she would have did. But I think he had to tuck the baby before she came back in the room or something. But I would have been fighting up something. I would have, but he had to hit her. What? Her granddaughter. I would have too. But I can easily say that. But I guess if you wasn't there, you don't really know. But it's sad. Ain't it sad, y'all? But you gotta know the red flags. You gotta know, at least notice some of the red flags when you get in an abusive relationship. I'm sure he probably had to did something else too. I'm trying to download this picture here. I want y'all to see that fool, how he sit up there in courtroom. Looking like he ain't got no sense. Don't be trying to play crazy now, dude. Don't be trying to play crazy now. And then the judge he did knock off 3 years, but it really didn't make a difference. I'm gonna put both of them in there. Straight sad. I wouldn't wish that on nobody. That's why they say you have to be careful who you be with. You gotta be careful who you lay with, because you just don't know, y'all. You just don't know. Some of these people walk around here now like a time bomb. They ready to go off any minute. You know what I'm saying? They ready to go off any minute. But let me show y'all him. This is food. This is food right here. Y'all see how this how he was looking in the courtroom. They say he didn't show no type of remorse. Said he started shedding tears after the judge. He started shedding tears after the judge told him he gonna give him 92 years. He got 62 for the little boy, for his baby, and he got 30. He got 30 for the wife. Frank said because most men will sweet talk and want, yeah. It was something, Frank. Maybe she just didn't see the red flags, or like I said, how, I mean, when you try to date somebody and you know how men try to get you, how women try to get men, they find ways to sweet talk you, try to act like they love you, but then once you get in their relationship, they change. Some of them do change. They, like they be saying, they do all they can to get you now. They do all they can to get you. You see how that fool looking, Frank? You see how that fool looking? He already been in jail. Look, y'all. Look at the baby, y'all. Look at the little baby. Just brought tears to my eyes. Jesus. Look at the little baby. Look at that. 3-month-old baby. Put him in the bucket. He's 29 now. The baby 3 months. Him and the wife were having issues. He said he had to teach the wife a lesson because she was disrespecting him. So he gonna take the baby. They thought the baby was they thought he had took the baby out the house. He had to took the baby in the kitchen. Like the little bucket over there we got. It had the baby head down in some detergent. Closed the lid on. Had to hit the woman with a tire wrench. He got 92 years. But that it's just like life prison, but they say he'll be eligible when he get 97. Lord. Sweet little baby. Sweet little baby. Life taken. I would tell my granddaughter. I know that mama, I know she probably, oh my God. I know she probably like, oh my God. Yeah, look just like him. So Lion Pride, did y'all was able to find the article? Did y'all hear what I was saying? Do what? He said he wanted to teach the mama a lesson. So I'm assuming they probably had already having issues, but still that did not give him an excuse to do what he did. That didn't give him the excuse. Yeah, the baby looked just like him. Even the judge said he think this is one of the worstest case he have ever had to, preside over. The baby got drowned in some detergent. Yeah, this is what he looked like. This is what he was looking like in court. Look how he looking good. They say he didn't. Did you see how he was looking in court? This is how he looking in court, looking like a straight fool. I was just wondering, like I said, I can't speak on what a person that have been in a violent marriage or dealing with domestic violence. We always ask the same question: why don't they leave? Why y'all think they don't leave? Why do you think? I'm putting it in chat. Why do you think they won't leave their abuser? Like I said, a lot of people stay with their abusers because they lose their power. It's just like especially like either be financial, they're going through financial issues, they don't have nowhere to stay, or they feel like they can't go on without their abusers, or you know, it's just like they be, I don't want to say brainwashed, but it seems like, hey Kenneth, how you doing? Just talking about domestic violence and how this man murdered his child because he had abused the mom, and talking about the mom disrespected him and he wanted to teach her a lesson. If he wanted to teach her a lesson, y'all, or he wanted to get back at her, he didn't have to take that innocent child life. You see what I'm saying? And like I said, I cannot speak on how a person, especially a person that get abused in that way, because I'm not in their shoes. But I just often wonder why they won't leave. The abusers threaten them and their family. Yeah, they'll threaten them, and then he probably was already threatening her with the baby. Y'all, we don't even know. They don't really get into details, but I'm sure she's seen some bad things about him she probably didn't like. They don't even say how long they was married, but they was married. They was married. They don't even show her. I don't even see a picture of her. He cracked her skull, y'all. He hit her with a tie wrench. And I'm like, wow. I'm just saying people shouldn't bring their children in this world. If you already in a bad relationship, and I'm gonna say this too. A lot of people think children save relationship. That don't save relationship. A lot of people feel like if they have children, that'll keep a man there or keep a woman there. No. If you are already in an abusive relationship, it's just gonna get worse and worse. Bringing innocent children in the world, knowing that things are not good, especially if you're not financially ready for one, if you're not mentally ready for one, if you don't have it where you're able to raise a child, don't bring these innocent children in this world to get abused, because that's what it is. You're abusing your children. You don't have to be touching them, but for them to witness, and as they get older, it's gonna affect them in a way where when they get ready to go to school, they could probably gonna be having lacking their grades, and because they can't go home and study because they got to hear all that racket all time of night. Um, like this little child here, he didn't know what was going on. He just was 3 months old. He wasn't even talking, barely sitting up. Look at that. They got pillows behind him. 3-month-old babies ain't no more than about, they ain't that big. Look at that little baby. Because Frank said, because most men sweet talk women or told her she'll never get another man because she got a child. Yeah, he probably made her feel like, like ain't nobody else gonna want you. Probably made her feel lesser than what she was. I'm sure he probably said some horrible things to her. How you been doing, Kenneth? You been doing okay? I wouldn't wish this on nobody. Nobody should have to go through this. An innocent child shouldn't have to come in a world. If you already got a abusive relationship, don't have no children by them. What is happened? This was happening in Indiana. He's from Indiana. He was a Haitian. He he supposed to be over here probably. Y'all know Donald Trump trying to get him away from over here. He mustn't know about him. I bet when he probably seen it, he probably said, that's why I'm trying to get him away from over here. But they didn't say he was illegal now. They say he came to America trying to have a better life with his family, but things didn't turn out that way because he didn't let it be right. He didn't have to do what he had to do. I could easily say she should have walked away, but we don't know what he said to her or what he probably threatened her. Probably like Lion Pride said, probably threatened his family. Ain't no telling, you know, because he was sick. I really think he was a sick individual. Didn't care about nobody but himself. There wasn't a way to get back. And she meant to believe him, so that's why she stayed. Yeah, she was afraid for one thing. She probably was afraid. She probably was afraid. He probably threatened her, probably had threatened her family, you know, probably said, if you leave, you ain't gonna see the baby no more. He had to say some crazy stuff. Cause I'm sure she probably noticed something about him. I'm sure she noticed some red flags. He was looking like a fool in the courtroom. He called us up, tried to make a statement saying that he didn't want things to turn out the way it did, right? He said he didn't want things to turn out the way it did, but why did you do it? Why did you even? It's just sad. It's sad. And that mama, I'm sure she had to have some counseling. I'm sure she had to get herself mentally on track because that lady probably took a lot of stuff even before she got pregnant. You know what I'm saying? Because he said he wanted to teach her a lesson. So it had to been something going on in that relationship. He said she disrespected him. So I don't know, did she cheat on him or did she do something to him in a way for him to be saying stuff like that? See, they don't really get into, they don't really say about what she say happened. I probably got to do some more research, but I just found it was very devastating when I saw that article saying that a dad is the cause of a 3-month-old to get drowned. And it was his real child. It was his biological child. Yeah, he knew his action. He really did. So I said, no one should have to go through that. No child or anyone. Hey, Kenneth again. Anyone that going through any type of abusive relationship. Like I said, I can easily say, why do you stay, or you should leave, or seek help. But I don't know nobody's circumstances. I don't know, but there are places out there that can help you if you need someone to talk to. They have counselors out there. You don't even have to tell the counselor who you are. You can be anonymous. If someone gone through any type of abusive relationship, domestic violence, and you see what someone is hurting you and your child, or they're going to cause harm to you and your family, call those 1-800 numbers, the 911, the 988, and report it. A lot of people be afraid. A lot of people be afraid to come forward because they don't want people to judge them. They don't want to be looked at in a certain way. But I'm on this situation right here. If she's seen where he was doing these things, and 9 times out of 10, children do be affected from domestic violence. They do. But she probably would have never thought in a million years the man would have, killed their own child. That was no way to get her attention. You already had to bust her up in the skull. That was enough damage right there. What did he think the 3-month-old was gonna do? He couldn't. The 3-month-old wasn't even walking. The 3-month-old couldn't do anything, y'all. Just cry. Maybe babble a little bit. But other than that, that was an innocent child. That was an innocent child. And it's sad. It's sad. I'm not trying to here to judge and tell nobody that they shouldn't have children or they shouldn't be in a relationship. But think about it. If you in some of this type of stuff and it's gonna affect you and your children, some have to give, right? But they always say people stay with their abusers because they be scared. They stay for financial reasons. It's just like they have power over them. You got to be able to get your power back. Because if you don't, then, I wish I could find more details about it. If he were that way at that particular time, I'm sure he'd been that way a lot of times. And she just probably just scared, probably wasn't working, probably just depending on him. But he was an immigrant. Shoot, she probably was taking care of him. We don't know. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that he probably didn't have a job, but someone come in the country, they don't really get a job right away, because they have to go through all that paperwork. And I mean, from what they say, I'm assuming he was legal. I'm assuming he was, but I don't know. And he's lucky. He's lucky he don't have some of them judges what they got on the other cases. Like the judge that was on R. Kelly case, the judge that was on several other cases where they be sentencing people now for worse than the murders get. Some of these murders get away with murder because some of these judges are not giving them their time, but they're giving others time for what they should give the murderers. Even though he got 92 years, I'm not saying he gonna get out no time soon, but they say he'll be 97. He's 29 now. You know how some people, I don't think Trump will pardon him. I don't think so. Some people have ways of getting out of prison, either through pardoning or either through, sometimes they have types of programs and stuff like that where they try to, be on good behavior. But I think he through. I don't care what he try to work out. I don't think no judge or appeal judge or nobody gonna want to listen to what he got to say. If they even say he's not gonna appeal, I know you're not. You plead guilty because you was guilty. So he pleaded guilty, right? He thought that judge was gonna knock off some more years. Like he thought the judge wasn't gonna give him that many years because he pleaded guilty. Man, you still got life in prison. 97 years old. What you gonna do when you get out? Huh? What you gonna do? And you better pray that you make it in there. You better pray you make it in that prison. Because those prison be reading articles and they be knowing what be going on. They be knowing what, they say they don't play by people with mess with, especially in this type of stuff. That was horrible, y'all. That was straight horrible. He's not going to pardon the immigrant, especially a black one, but he's about to pardon a white female. Oh, you think so? For real? Yeah, I did see some of it. I saw a little bit today when they was asking him, is he going to pardon her? And he was like, I hadn't even thought about it. I saw a little about it. I don't know what's really going on. They going by asking her some questions. And they trying to get Epstein files. And I know I saw where they say his name is in the files. Yep. I did see that the other day where they said his name is in the files, and I think they trying to get them files too. But yeah, he ain't gonna pardon him because he know he trying to get him out the country. That's why I said if he seen it right here, if he seen what this immigrant did, he probably saying, "See, that's why I'm trying to get him out now." And in this case, this man here didn't need to come. If he will go, he wrote a statement to the judge that he was trying to have a better life in the United States. You should have stayed where you were. Can't even speak English. I'm not talking against people that don't speak English or anything like that, or not saying anything in a bad way by Haitians, but this was not called for. This was not called for. Not at all. But I just want to bring that tonight, this afternoon, about, people do have to be careful who they lay with, who they marry, who they having children with. No, it wasn't. It was not. It could have been another way he could have taught her a lesson. He didn't need to abuse her either, but look, whatever was so bad, what was so bad, and I'm just trying to think to myself, what she could have disrespected him. How he said she disrespected him. See, they don't get into details about what she supposed to been alleged to do to him. He just got in the article that he wanted to teach her a lesson, so he got the baby, took the baby, put him baby in a bucket. Man, I know what gonna get him. That karma gonna get him. His conscience gonna get him. He took his own child life. That's crazy. Child look just like him. Child look just like him. He do look like him though. Look at his nose. Got that little nose just like him. How this man gonna sleep at night, y'all? Child will never have his first walk. Child will never be able to play outside again, or it's sad. Straight sad. Yeah, look just like him. He'll never be able to have his first walk, his first teeth. None of that. And it looked like, look, sitting up there like me, 'cause I got a pillow behind my back. He ain't even sitting up. This baby ain't even sitting up, y'all. Because they got a pillow. They got a pillow behind his back. This baby is still practically a little newborn, 3 months. He's still new. Little fingers, little hands, little feet. He should have got the electric chair. I'm sorry. I don't know if they do it in Indiana. Whatever the death penalty over there, he should have got the death penalty, y'all. Knocked 3 years off his sentence. He should have got just what he gave to that man. Gave that baby, I mean. And he think he gonna have some buddies in that jail. He ain't gonna have no buddies in that jail, y'all. If anything, I'm gonna try to see can I keep him following a little bit, because I want to see what gonna really happen to him. Cause this right here, he's not gonna appeal. Cause he took a plea deal. I think when you take a plea deal, you can't appeal. Cause he plead guilty. And he might have well had done what he's supposed to be did, because he was guilty. He did it. But they dropped the charges of confinement. He had that baby in that house all alone. Don't make no sense. So, huh? Okay, I will. I will. I had texted last night too. To what? Okay. But yes, y'all. And when I be sharing things like this, I try to share it in a way where, cause this is a domestic violence. It is domestic violence. And there are millions of people in the United States is dealing with domestic violence, whether you're a woman, man, and it always affect your children. And it turned deadly. It do turn deadly. But the statistics say it's 1 out of 4 women and 3 out of 10 men dealing with domestic violence. So it's not just only the women, get abused. Men do too. Y'all saw how that woman was abusing Johnny Depp. They did his little thing. When they had that trial, I was looking at some of it, and shoot, that woman was beating that man up. So they went to court and he won. He won, but I think he got to pay her uh for something. But he ended up the winner though. They found her guilty. Like they said, men get abused too. So, but it ain't just women; men also get abused. So we just have to be careful out here, y'all. We really do. But like I said, shout out to everybody that did the short challenge. Next week we'll be doing the dessert of the day. We shared some good videos this week. I hope everybody was able. Hold on, y'all. Yeah, but that's all I want to share with y'all today. We got to be, people got to be careful out here these days. A lot of people would be afraid to come forward, talk to somebody. If it just be, a lot of people rather talk to strangers. They don't want to talk to family members because they feel like, if you enter an abusive relationship and then you decide you want to still be with them, they gonna feel like someone gonna judge them. But 9 times out of 10, if you know somebody in an abusive relationship, you be want to make sure they safe. You be telling them, look, you sure you want to be in that type of relationship? First thing somebody say, mind your business or stuff like that. But a lot of people don't want you to tell them anything. Some people he have to find out the hard way. But nobody shouldn't have to endure any of that. You know? And like I said, even if you get verbal abuse hurt also. Words do hurt. People might say sticks and stone might break my bone. Words would never hurt you. Yeah, they hurt. Especially if you have to hear somebody putting you down all day, every day. Can't rest at night because somebody trying to say this and that about you. Then they supposed to be your husband or your wife. You don't want to hear that. That is abuse. And then when you try to fight back, you be scared to fight back. So it's just sad all the way around the board. And then he hit the woman with a child wrench. Oh my God. This happened over a year ago when this happened in August of 2024. And I'm sure this lady, if she ain't having headaches, I'm sure she having them. Because they said she had a fractured skull. And I'm sure mentally she had to get some help, knowing that I think that was her first child. That was her first child. Knowing that she done lost her only child to this, to domestic violence, his own dad. Yeah, that's bad. That is so, so bad. So I was hoping I can get somebody on the panel, if you want to share anything. Anybody want to come up and share anything, let me know. But I'm about to get ready to end this. But I'm trying to see something right quick. Right here, I'm just reading this article about disturbing data shows domestic violence often turn deadly. A connection has long been established between domestic violence and murder, but a new report by the Washington Post uncovers just how close that link is. Nearly half of women who were murdered in the past decade were killed by a current or former partner. And see, that's what was going on here, but he didn't kill her, but he killed the baby. That's a that's what I'm saying. Just crazy. What they just saying, 9 times out of 10, it be couples. It be either husband, wife, someone in a relationship where does the violence. Wow, just sad. Domestic violence, a pattern of behavior including a variety of tactics, some physical injuries and some not, some criminal and some not, carried out in multiple, sometimes daily episodes. Domestic violence when somebody constantly wanting to beat you and hit you and punch you and find ways to hurt you just on a daily basis. Just do it all day, every day. And then some of them abuse you because they have been abused. They always say hurt people hurt people. People been going through these type of things when they was coming up as a child or as an adult or young, as they got older, but they didn't get the help they needed. So they're going to marry somebody and try to run their lives. Because that's what they do. That's a hurt people do hurt people. Instead of dealing with your issues and stop taking it out on innocent people. It's just a pattern of coerced behavior, including physical, sexual, psychological attacks, as well as economic coercion. A combination of physical force and terror used by the predator that causes physical and psychological harm to victim and children. A pattern of purposeful behavior directed at achieving compliance from a control over a victim. So I'm I'm thinking that he was controlling the wife where she couldn't go nowhere probably, and stuff was just going on. She just was sitting up there. He probably was threatening her, saying what he was going. He probably had already threatened her, but she just hadn't told nobody. And I'm sure probably some family members probably witnessed stuff. But like I said, some people be like, I ain't got nothing to do with that. I ain't getting. If you tell a person to leave, they ain't gonna listen. Some people just care not to get in when people have an abusive and going through stuff like that. Because some tend to try to stay and work it out, and then they find out later on they can give them another chance. Like, he hit me last night. Maybe he won't hit me tonight. You're living in fear. Some people are just living in fear because they don't know which way to turn, or they're scared to go leave because they're thinking that they're not going to be able to have a normal life, or they probably won't be able to make it without their abuser, but you can. You just have to, you know, put one foot in front of the other and realize, look, this is not what I want to do the rest of my life. I don't want to get beat down every night, every day. I have seen movies, and I know it's happening in real life. You can be and fix a person a nice dinner, and they'll come home and knock the food off the table because they're not satisfied. But you just sat there all day slaving on a hot stove, probably in the summer heat, probably ain't got the air blowing on you, probably ain't got air conditioning, probably ain't living in a condition the way you want to live, and you just sat there all day to prepare this meal, thinking this gonna make this man happy, but still, they still don't be happy. I consider the man what did that said child a monster. Now he is definitely a monster. But I have enjoyed everybody who did come in. Sometimes I just like to talk about these topics because this is what we're dealing with. This is what people are dealing with daily. One out of every three women, they say one out of every three women will be abused at some point in her life. Battering is the single major cause of injury to women, exceeding to rape, mugging, and auto accident combined. A woman is most likely to be killed by a male partner or a former partner than any other person. About 4,000 women die each year due to domestic violence. Of the total domestic violence homicides, about 75% of victims were killed as they attempt to leave the relationship or after the relationship have ended. And that's what we're saying. Some people try to leave, but when they try to leave, they be threatened or they cut off everything, cut off their financial help and all types of things, try to cut them off where they're not able to survive by themselves. That's why it's best, even though you could be married or you have a partner, it's best to still try to be dependent and don't depend on that man for every little thing. Because if they want to cut the food, you all have something to fall back on. You could say, I work for this or this mine, will have that total control. But when they have it like you can't go nowhere, you can't do nothing, you got to spend their money. And see, that's how some abusers want people to be. They want to have that power over you. They want to say, yeah, she ain't going nowhere. I ain't got to worry about her. She ain't going nowhere. That's how someone be wanting you to think. And that goes for women, men, not just only women, but it just showing in the data that women are the most likely to be, go through abuse, because it always turn out to be the women that mostly get abused. But, there are men that get abused. So right here, they say 73% of male abusers were abused as children. That's what I said. When you got in a domestic relationship, your abuser have been abused also. So this man here, he had to be abused by somebody. Because they said that's how the pattern fall. That's what I was saying. Hurt people does hurt people. He probably was abused. And he's talking about he came to America trying to live better. Why he couldn't stay in Haitian and marry somebody over there and stay over there? Why he couldn't do that? But he had to come over here, living in Indiana. Got married. I'm not sure how the marriage was, but from what I'm reading, it was abusive in that relationship. And it didn't just start that day when he killed that baby either. It had been going on. So right here, they said 30% of Americans say they know a woman has been physically abused by her husband in the past year. Women of all races are equally vulnerable to violence by intimate partner. On average, more than 3 women are murdered by their husband or partners in this country every day. Intimate partner violence, a crime that largely affects women. In 1999, women accounted for 85% of the victims of intimate partner violence. On average, a woman will leave an abusive relationship 7 times before she leaves for good. Mm, wow. Approximately 75% of women who are killed by their batterers are murdered when they attempt to leave or after they have left an abusive relationship. Mm, mm, mm. And that's true. When they'll try to attempt to leave, they'll do something to them, they'll threaten them, they'll cut off all their resources, make them feel like, look, you can't do it without me. Make them like, you got to depend on me. You got to depend on me. You ain't going nowhere. You know, right here they say, can you identify? Hold on. They said frequent. I'm just trying to finish out this little hour right here. I got like about 10 more minutes. Then I'm going to let this go. Um, they said frequently asked question about domestic violence. Do women who stay in an abusive relationship like the abuse? No one wants to be hurt, beaten, or made to feel inferior. Women stay in an abusive relationship for a number of reasons. Women may have nowhere to go. They may believe that it is better for them, for their children to stay in a stable home. That's what I was saying. Some people try to stay with their husband or they try to stay with their wives because they have children and they feel like they have built something like a foundation for their children. But you're staying in a relationship and it's abusive. You shouldn't have to put your children through all that misery. But some people just want to have a stable environment for their children. But man, I wouldn't want to bring a child in nothing like that. I really would. So for men and women, the reason they stay is because this is the question I was asking. For many reasons, they stay because of fear. And that's what I was saying. Women, men, whoever in an abusive relationship, stay because they be afraid. They be in fear. Said that. Statistics show that 75% of women who are murdered by their partners are killed when they leave or after they leave their relationship. Yeah. Why do people become abusive? There is no single reason for abuse violence. It's mean of trying to exercise power and control over someone else. Many batterers were victims of abuse as children. And that's what I was saying. Most people that abuse others they be abused by someone else themselves. Many batterers were victims of abuse as children or come from families in which spousal abuse was prevalent. It is important to remember, however, that not all people who were victims are abused as children will turn into battery. That's true. That'll mean that they will turn into that. But it's a reason behind everything. Huh? We'll get him in 30 minutes, in 20 minutes, 10 minutes. Hold on. You're finna get ready to go out in about 7 minutes. I want to drink ale. I don't like that. I drink it, but I don't like it. Can you identify a potential batterer when you meet him or her? Just as there is not one reason for abuse, there is not one type of batterer. Many batterers are highly successful, professional, and in other areas of their lives, which history and society to support their benefit, their beliefs that they may have little remorse or regret over battering. Like I was saying about that man, he have no kind of remorse on his face, none whatsoever. He just looked like that at the judge, like only time he shed a tear when the judge spoke on his sentencing. He was trying to wipe a tear then. Man, you're gonna be crying for a long time. You hear me? Everything like Rupert Goldberg told that man in Color Purple, everything you do to me, everything you did to that little boy, you gonna see it again. I hate to say it. You gonna see it again when you get in prison. So right here they saying that the fact that people experience domestic violence doesn't make them inherently weak. It don't make you weak if you're dealing with domestic violence. But a lot of people be afraid to speak on it. Look at this innocent baby, this food here. A lot of people don't want to talk about it because they feel like people gonna judge them. They feel like they feel ashamed about some of the things they've been through. But a lot of people don't realize if you speak up, you might just help somebody else. People going I've noticed that people gonna say they're gonna do just exactly what they're gonna do, but nobody know what a person feel like unless you've been in their shoes. So right here they said, through manipulations and coercion, abusers often chip away at the victim's self-esteem. Sometimes this process happens so. Hold on. I was trying to get on here. Sometimes this process happens so subtly that the victim is unaware of the psychological, emotional, and other types of abuse that often precede a physical violent attack. In addition, it is important to note that many victims grew up in homes where there was excessive violence and turbulence. They may have seen their parents abuse alcohol and drugs and consequently blame themselves for the dysfunction and unhappiness. Mm. What do abused women want and need? The first thing that abused woman needs is to be safe. If she is in danger, it is very difficult to think beyond the immediate crisis. She does not need someone to tell her to snap out of it or to insert her for being in her position. And see, that's what I'm saying. That's why a lot of people don't come forward. A lot of people won't come forward because they don't want to hear that. Look, you should have left. You should have been left him. You should have been left him. You already knew how he was, or you don't. They don't want to hear all the negativity that people try to say when you're in a abusive relationship. That's why I always say, if you ain't trying to lift a person up, don't try to tear them down even more because they're already going through enough if they're in an abusive relationship. They don't need to hear people keep throwing up in their face. You should have left him. You should have been left him. You should have known how he was. See, they don't want to hear that. They already feel bad. When people be abused, they already feel like it's their fault. You see what I'm saying? They're thinking it's their fault what happened to them, and they don't want people to uh, bring up to them like you brought this on yourself, or you should have did this. You shouldn't have married him. You know how he was. People don't need to hear that kind of stuff. especially if you done lived through abuse for years and years and tried to leave, and every time you try to leave, they threaten you. People are living in fear. There are people out here living in fear every day because they're scared their abuser going to either attack them when they try to go out the door again, or they're going to try to do something to their families, do something to their children, like what happened in this case. This fool killed his own child. So I guess you have to really be careful what you say to people that, oh, you did? Okay, see, I can't even see my comment. I got a super chat. I did. I thought I seen a super chat. A super chat. I did. I did. I got a super chat. So thank you. So thank you. I thought I seen a super chat. A super chat. I did. I did. I got a super chat. So thank you. So thank you. I thought I seen a super chat. A super chat. I did. I did. I got a super chat. So thank you. So thank you. I thought I seen a super chat. A super chat. I did. I did. I got a super chat. So thank you. So thank you. So thank you. So thank you. Thank you, Miss Key. Wow, I didn't know I had a super chat. See, I can't see my comments on this. I had to go to my phone and see it. Thank you. But I'm finna wrap this on up. I would just try to round it all off and tell, look, people be living in fear. They be in fear. That's why they won't leave. That's why they won't leave their abusers, because they be in fear. So if anybody's living in fear, I can't not say tell you what to do, but think about it. You know, you don't want to continue to be in fear the rest of your life. Seek help. There's people out, talk to someone. Please talk to someone. We don't need to be hearing these type of stories no more, especially when it come down to our children. That innocent baby didn't have nothing to do with that. He was brought in this world. He thought he was brought in this world out of love. 3-month-old baby got drowned in detergent because of this evil monster here. I don't know how he gonna rest at night. I don't know how he feel like he gonna have a life. You got 92 years in prison for murdering your child and abusing your wife. You'll never be in peace. This man would never have peace because his conscience gonna eat him up. Karma gonna get him. And yeah, God had ways of getting you too. And those prisoners, they're gonna look at you like fresh meat. He just got sentenced the beginning of July, so he already did a year. The man said he did 1 year. He got what? But since he's in federal prison, he won't do the full 92 years. They have to do like a 75% of it. So he got 67 more years. They say he'll be 97 when he get out of jail. He'll be 97 when he get out of jail. Your life is gone. Your life gone just like you took this baby life. Your own flesh and blood. 3-month-old baby ain't even sitting up yet. sitting there with a pillow behind his back. So prayers going out to that mother. I know she probably just, I know she just in pieces. I know her mind probably just all over the place. This baby just got out of her womb with 3 months. At 3 months, he still eyes probably just starting to getting growing. He haven't even started getting his eyebrows yet. I mean, he still was in his development stages. So I just want to bring that, stop the violence. Let's continue to pray for people that are going through any type of domestic violence, because we don't know what people are going through. We really don't. Because you see a smile on their face, you don't know what they might be going through. Anybody, like I said, if anybody that's going through any type of domestic violence, there are numbers where you can reach people. I'll probably put the number in my description box where that if you want to seek help, there are places that can help you. Just know that you're not alone out here. You're not alone out here. There's somebody that's going through some things like this. So on that note, get ready to end this. Thank you again, Miss Key. Thank y'all for the ones that did come in the chat. I do appreciate each and every one of y'all. If you're watching the replay, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Like I said, this is just kind of awareness, domestic violence awareness, because there are people that are really going through this. And for this child to have lost his life behind domestic violence is sad. It's sad. It really is sad. So that's one thing I do not want to do. I be want to put faith over fear. I don't be want to live. Okay. I don't be wanting to live in fear for nothing. You hear me? I don't. I'm just going to check the other comments to make sure I didn't overlook nobody. Again, shout out to everybody who did the short challenge. We did share some awesome videos this week. Shout out to Miss Key Kitchen and More. Shout out to Frank G. Shout out to Sassy and myself. We did share a variety of videos from walking to cooking, unboxing. We did food hauls. We did different types of videos. So y'all just check out everybody. Next week, we'll be doing dessert of the day. It can be whatever dessert of your choice. That's what we'll be doing next week. I appreciate each and every one of y'all. Like I said, this is what I like to share on my channel, different awareness and different things about things that is going on in reality. That's going on in the world. And this is reality. Domestic violence does exist in the United States. 1 out of 4 women and 3 out of 10 men and children experience domestic violence. So on that note, y'all continue to have a blessed night. Stay encouraged. And always stay what? Prayed up. And shout out to my GTs, my Georgia Troopers. Appreciate each and every one of y'all. Tomorrow, Saturday, I pop up. Y'all know how I do. And thanks again, Miss Key, for the super chat. If anybody else live that we know of, Miss Key, you live, Lion Pride, Frank, who else was in the chat? I don't know who else was in the chat, but whoever was in the chat, I know I saw Lion Pride and Miss Key, Frank, Kenneth. I think that was it. Thank y'all. I appreciate y'all so much. Until next time, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Y'all have a great weekend. Stay blessed, stay encouraged, and always stay what? Prayed up. Bye-bye.